Welcome, everybody, to the NFL Presidential Address. I'm Lawrence Presman, and it is a pleasure to do this show for you guys. If you haven't seen this show before, here's how it works. We go down every single game, top to bottom. I give you my thoughts. I give you bets that I'm making on that play, on that game, sides, totals, etc. Then when we're done with that, we have the awesome Meghan Payton joining us. She's got some prop bets for you. And then at the end of the show, I will give you my show best bets. It's about a 25-minute show. Stay with us all the way through. It should be fun. Lots of great information. But let's go through what happened last week. Well, I started by telling you guys that I loved the card and it was going to be a great presidential address. I ended up going 8-1 on Sunday for my clients. Yes. 8 wins, 1 loss. It was spectacular. I did mess it all up on Monday. I had a couple of A.J. Brown props that didn't hit. So let's go through the record. Week 10, I went 9-5 for the clients, 1-2 for the show best bets, 7-6 for the show bets and leans. And I had a terrible day at the Circa, 1-4. My total record on the year for my clients is 55 wins, 45 losses. I am up units on the season. My show best bets have been terrible, 12-17, but I'm going to turn that around. And all show plays and leans, 78-71. My Circa record is 27-22. Okay, guys, let's get straight into it. Thursday night, we have Tennessee playing Green Bay. And I mean, I look at this game and I think to myself, man, Tennessee, 18 players on the injured reserve. This team is riddled with injuries, but doesn't matter. All they've got to do is just keep running Derrick Henry. This team continues to win. This is the most underrated, undervalued team in the NFL. I'm a big fan of Tennessee. With that said, I do believe that Green Bay had a very important win against Dallas, and I expect Green Bay to start going on a run. As of now, sidewise, I'm going to pass in this game, but I do look at under the total of 41. Now, for many reasons. Firstly, it's Thursday, and most of these Thursday night games go under. But the bottom line is, I don't believe that Aaron Rodgers and Christian Watson are going to connect on 50-yard passes on a regular basis. I think we're going to see Green Bay rely heavily on the run, and we already know Tennessee relies heavily on the run. This game's going to be a ton of running. I lean on under the total of 41 points. Now we turn our attention to Carolina going into Baltimore. The line here is Carolina plus 12. The total has been bet down from 42.5 to 41.5. Let's take this game apart. Well, Baker Mayfield looks like he's going to play this game. And for that reason, and a few others, I like the over here. I know this has been bet down, but that just creates more value for us. It's not like I'm suggesting Baker Mayfield is some all-world QB, but I do think he's better than Walker. And I understand Walker has won a couple of games, but I mean, last week, 10 for 16. He's no quarterback. And Baker Mayfield is literally playing for his starting career life right now. I can't bet the side in this game, so I'm going to look at the total, and here's why. Baltimore is the 4th highest scoring team in football. They are averaging 26 points per game, and to be honest, I think their defense is middle of the pack. The Panthers are at the bottom half in offense, but they're still averaging 20 points a game. They're also in the bottom half of the league in points allowed. They've allowed 24 points per game. Carolina's in the bottom 10 in stopping the run. Good luck stopping Lamar Jackson. As we move into winter, the weather will likely come into play, especially in the Buffalo game, which we'll talk about later. But I think, the weather's, it's not going to impact this game as much as others because both teams are run-first teams. And actually running in bad weather works out better for you because, well, you're the runner and you're going forward, or you're the wide receiver and you're running forward, and the defensemen have to turn. Slippery, to say the least, So be careful about the weather. But either way, I like this game to go over the total. I just can't see Carolina stopping Baltimore, and I don't believe in the Baltimore defense. So I think Carolina is going to get us some points. At 41.5, 23-20 game is a winner. 28-17 game is a winner. So those are very realistic scores in my mind. I like over the total. Now we turn our attention to Cleveland and Buffalo. We've got Cleveland here at +8 and the total bet down to 41. They are expecting a monster storm in Buffalo starting late tonight, and it's just going to continue all the way through Sunday. There is going to be tons of snow on this field. It will be a wet field, a slippery field, and I think on a whole that favors Cleveland. Everyone I speak to says this is a great spot for Buffalo. They just came off a horrific loss against Minnesota, a game they had well in hand. And before that, they had a loss against the Jets. But if this is a great game, a great spot for Buffalo because, well, Allen is pissed off, the team is all mad, and they need to get on a roll, why wasn't the Minnesota game a great spot for Buffalo? They were off of a bye. They were off of losing to the Jets. They're literally in the exact same spot in this game, except even worse. I'd rather take the running team in Cleveland, guys, with this weather being so bad. Josh Allen obviously is a great runner, but Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, the Cleveland Browns are going to run the ball. They're going to run it all game long. The Browns are getting over a touchdown here. That's important to know because with the line only at 41, the bookmakers think this is going to be a low-scoring game. And if this is going to be a low-scoring game, give me the points, please. Look, I love the Bills. I think the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm a huge fan of this Bills team. But man, something is wrong right now. They're coming off of 2 bad losses. They don't deserve to be -8. If you took all the names off of the jerseys, you'd be looking at this game and thinking, why? How are they -8? Anyway, I like Cleveland in this game plus the 8. Now we turn our attention to Philadelphia and Indianapolis, and this is a juicy game. Let me tell you guys, the line was like 9 before Monday night's game. Then during the game, it dropped to 7.5. There is so much money coming in on Indy right now that we have Indianapolis -6.5, and the total has been dropped down from 45 to 43.5. Firstly, damn. Man, I wish this was 7.5. I had put a circle around Indy at 7.5 as a potential 5% bet. That's how much I liked it. Now we're not even getting a touchdown. I took the under on the Monday night game, Washington, Philadelphia, and it was the right call and the wrong result. Here is the bottom line. This Eagles team is, I don't want to say they're a fraud, but they are not as good as people think. People were actually talking about this team going undefeated. Who the hell is this team beat? They beat Dallas without Dak, and they beat Minnesota. Great win against Minnesota, I get it. But the rest of the teams they played, they stink. It's not like they went into Buffalo and beat them. Oh, wait, Minnesota did. I know Indy had an emotional win last week, but don't forget, this is a team that came into the season with playoff aspirations. This is a team on paper with a great O-line, a great running game, and a good defense. Yet everything has gone wrong for them, and they still find themselves in the thick of things. There is no reason to think they can't turn their season around, and everything suggests that this team really likes Jeff Saturday, and that should result in good Sundays. Kind of a joke. If Philly beat Washington, the line would have been 7.5. And as I said, it would have been one of my biggest bets this year. But the fact that Philly is coming off of a loss has made me a little hesitant. With all that said, there is simply no other way to bet this game but to take the points. If you are getting 6.5, buy up to 7. And frankly, put a small amount on the money line. There is no reason that Indianapolis cannot win this football game. I like Indy plus the 7 -120 against Philadelphia. Now we turn our attention to Washington and Houston. We're supposed to take Washington here, 100%. Great win on Monday night. They're feeling good about themselves. They played excellent against Minnesota 2 weeks ago. This team is playing really good football. Their D has been rock solid the last few games. They held the Vikings to 20. They held Philadelphia to 21, and that's a phony 21 because 7 points came off a short field fumble. They also have a very balanced offense. They're able to run the ball and throw the ball, but they are moving directly into a team that becomes run first. Now they're playing a 1-7 team who simply stinks. With that said, I just have a bad feeling about Washington this week. They're coming off such a big win versus a division rival. This is a terrible, terrible spot for Washington. I know Monday's game went over the total, but take away the last TD and it went 4 points over, and that includes that touchdown off of a fumble at the beginning of the game. Houston is the 5th worst scoring team in the league. They're averaging under 17 points a game, while Washington is the 9th worst scoring team in the league, averaging 19 points a game. Add those together and it's 36. Defensively, both teams are middle of the pack. I look at this game and I just can't see Houston scoring more than their average. I see them getting around 13 points, and Washington will score just enough to win. I can easily see this as a 16-14 type game. That's 30 points, still 10 points to spare on the under. That's where we're looking. I like Washington and Houston under the total. Guys, before we continue, and we've got a lot more games to get to, I just want to make mention about my NHL season. So far, my NHL season has been absolutely incredible. I am seeing it in my free picks, in my client plays. I'm 64% on the season in NHL. I'm 75% in my NHL totals. I'm 14-5 in my NHL 4% plays. I need you guys to play my NHL. I called head office. I got a great promo for everybody. Use the promo code PREZ399. That's PREZ 399. You get my entire NHL season and playoffs all the way through June. For only $399. I cannot stress enough how important it is for you guys to get that package, because I am going to annihilate the NHL season. Okay, let's turn our attention to the New York Jets going into New England. Total here is 38. Line came out at Jets plus 3.5. A lot of money has come in. It's now New England -3. I'm passing on this game, guys. I just can't find a bet. My apologies. I've got a couple more passes coming, but I'm not going to just make stuff up. Now we got Detroit going into New York. They're playing the Giants. Detroit is +3. The total in this game is 45. This is a tough game, guys. The Giants are rolling, but the Lions are ATS machines. I cannot take an under in a Detroit game. I cannot take an over in a Giants game. So the total is out of the question. That leaves us with the point spread. Bottom line here, I like the Lions, and I actually think they could win this game outright. What has me worried is that the Giants should be able to run all over this team. The Lions are the second worst team in stopping the run in all of football. And the Giants, they're the third best team in running the ball. However, who's the best run team in football? The Chicago Bears. And Detroit beat them last week. I just believe in this Lions team. I don't think they're like some great team that's going to go to the playoffs or anything, but I really like their coach. They've played every game tough. This Lions team could easily have 2 more W's on their record. They've kept themselves in almost every single game this year, and they have weapons all over the field offensively. I know the Giants are 7-2, but I don't think they're as good as 7-2 as their record suggests. And I know Detroit is better than their record. Let's cut the crap. I like Detroit +3. Now we turn our attention to the Rams. +4 against New Orleans on the road, a total of 39. Let me bottom line this, guys. How the hell do you take the Saints -4 against anyone? I fully understand. Cooper Kupp is out. They have no wide receivers. Rams running game is a mess. Their quarterback isn't playing. They still have Sean McVay. And I don't believe that Sean McVay's teams are going to lay down and die. Both teams have lost 4 of their last 5. Both teams are struggling, but only one team has a real coach and Aaron Donald. And that's the team I'm going to bet. I still believe in this Rams D, and I just can't see the Saints putting up a ton of points. The total of this game is 39, and the line is -4. That means that the odds makers think that the Saints are going to put up around 21 to 24 points. How? Where is that coming from? The Saints have put up 23 points in their last 2 games combined. The Saints have scored 14 or less points 4 out of their 9 games. I don't care who's starting for the Rams. I would take the Texans +4 against the Saints. Bottom line, I like the Rams here and the points. Now we look at Chicago and Atlanta. Man, I love you, Bears fans. You give me such grief in the comment sections. It's so great. Last week I said I'd rather have Goff as QB than Fields. Oh boy, did you guys go off on me. My response, Fields is not a quarterback. He's a running back. And that's okay. They are putting up points. So it doesn't matter. But if Fields throws the ball, nothing good is going to happen for Chicago. With all that said, this is a stay away game. I'm going to pass. Now we turn our attention to the Vegas and Denver. I got a feeling that tonight's gonna be a good night. I don't know for who though, man. Initially I was thinking to myself, I'm going to pass on this game. I didn't even write anything up. I have completely sworn off both teams, but now I'm thinking, what a total mess this season has become for 2 new coaches and 2 excited franchises. I got to look at this game. There's 3s on the board. 3s. Denver is -3. Are they playing the Toronto Argonauts? Maybe the Saskatchewan Roughriders? Perhaps they're playing the Clemson Tigers. I don't care who the hell Denver is playing. -3? Do you guys realize that this team struggles to score 3 points? I mean, if their average point per game is like, say, 16, which is where it is around, that means that the Vegas is expected to put up like what, 13? Come on, man. Denver is not the play here. I was going to pass on this game, but I am not passing anymore. Now that there is a 3 out there, I like the Las Vegas Raiders. Okay, Dallas, Minnesota. I think this is my best write-up. I mean, okay, full disclosure. I wrote right up until this game, I wrote up yesterday during the day. And then I went and played hockey, and I got back and I did edibles, flat out. And that's when I started writing the Dallas, Minnesota game. Now, I'm super loquacious when I do edibles. I can't shut up. And I think you will find that out because the write-up for the Dallas, Minnesota game is like 5 times longer than any other game. With that said, let's break this down. How the hell is this line possible? I said the same thing about the Chargers last week. I'm like, what the hell's going on? The Chargers at +7? Let's take that, please. And sure, it was a miracle win, but who cares? It won. We cashed. Okay, so let's get this right. A 7-1 team who just beat Buffalo is a dog at home against a 6-3 Dallas team who just gave away a game in Green Bay. Now, you're all saying, Minnesota should not have won that game against Buffalo. Really? You'll point out, Minnesota got a miracle, absolute miracle touchdown on a Josh Allen and the center bad snap at the end of the game. Really? What about the fact that Minnesota was down by 4? They marched the ball all the way down the field, and they arguably scored on that 4th down at the goal line, which would have given them a 3-point lead with very little time on the clock. Now, I know they didn't score. I get it. But man, we are splitting hairs. That was by inches. And to be honest with you, had they have called it a touchdown on the field, the replay would have amounted to nothing and it would have remained a touchdown. Minnesota looked great in the second half of that game against Buffalo. And now they're a dog? I am so confused. At first, I was thinking, this is a real tough spot for the Vikings. A huge emotional victory against Dallas. Now they have to go back, a huge emotional victory against Buffalo. Now they're going back home. This is not a good spot for them. They've got a good team that they're facing who's coming off of a bad loss. But then the line makers turned it all around. I mean, this was a bad spot for Minnie. Now the line makers have made it a good spot for Minnie. What am I talking about? Well, here's what we know. These players are human. These players know the lines. These players are sitting in the dressing room going, what the fuck? How are we a dog? We're 7-1. We just beat the Bills. I don't understand. We're getting no respect. This line is going to for sure fuel Minnesota. Now, I also like the total in this game. I like it to go over. I know Dallas has the 4th best points, 4th best defense in all of football, but this Minnesota team can score on anyone, and especially indoors. They are so well balanced, it's ridiculous. Jefferson is a wide receiver with an extremely underrated Cook coming out of the backfield. They have a good O-line and a great play action pass. This team will score. So that leaves Dallas. And frankly, we know this team can score. They put up 28 last week, and the week before they put up 49. And now Dak is way over his injury as well. Minnesota is the 4th worst pass D in all of football. My picks on this game, Minnesota plus 1.5 and over the total of 47.5. Well, let's look at Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Nice win by Pittsburgh last week. Oh, by the way, Cincinnati -5. Now it's -4. I'm told from a lot of bookmakers there's a ton of money coming in on Pittsburgh, and the total in this game is 41. I want to say this. I am impressed with Kenny Pickett. He has shown a lot of poise. He's shown a lot of patience, and he has made a lot of right decisions with the ball. It looks like Pittsburgh has found their QB, and that didn't take long. I mean, Big Ben was around last year. With that said, 2 games in their last 6 they won. 2 games in their last 6. And now they're playing the AFC champs who desperately need to put a string of wins together. What do we make of the Cincinnati team? We know their offense is even better than what they have shown. And guys, they have the 6th best offense in all of football. They're averaging over 25 plus points a game. They have the 6th best passing attack in all of football. I know Chase is out. I get it. Burrows will find a way. The problem here is they have the 6th worst running game. Cincinnati defensively has allowed less than 21 points a game. Pittsburgh is the 31st worst offense in football. They are averaging 15.6 points a game. Don't talk to me about TJ Watt. He doesn't play on the offense. 15.6 points a game. I just can't imagine Pittsburgh putting up more than 17 points. And that is above their average of 15.6, even with Watt back. If Cincinnati is going to challenge for the division or even the AFC, they can't lose games like this. I know Pittsburgh is the right play. It's a division game, +4, at home, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to take Cincinnati -4. As for the Kansas City Chiefs LA Chargers game, As of now, I'm passing. I am waiting on an injury report. I cannot find a bet without knowing if Keenan Allen is going to play. I want to bet this game. I plan on betting this game. But as of now, I got nothing for you. And as for San Fran and Arizona, I haven't looked at that game at all yet. That's it. Top to bottom, baby. Now it's Meghan Payton, and then we'll get right back to me with a show best bets. Stay with us, everyone. Meghan, we're excited to have you. The microphone is yours.
Thank you very much, Prez. I have 3 player props this week, all in Thursday night football. That's Packers versus Titans. I actually have 3 Aaron props. My first one is Aaron Rodgers, no interceptions. Rodgers is going to have a big game this week. The chemistry's finally there. These young receivers are finally getting it, and Aaron Rodgers is stoked about it. Rodgers is getting the ball in these receivers' hands, and the young receivers are learning where to go. Christian Watson had 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards last week, and less mistakes means less interceptions. Rodgers, big game, no interceptions. Number 2 prop bet is going to be running back Aaron Jones, over 86.5 receiving and rushing yards. Jones is a versatile player. He can be a great addition in the passing game. He can be a great runner. Run, catch, block, whatever you need him to do, he can do it. And look, Jones is getting the ball more. The Packers are giving him more carries. He had over 100 rushing yards last week, and he's going to be going up against a Titans team that's allowing the second most passing yards per game. So don't count Aaron Jones out in the receiving game. Take over 86.5 receiving and rushing yards for Aaron Jones. Last player prop is Aaron Jones. I'm going to take running back Aaron Jones anytime touchdown. Look, Jones is still the top goal line runner for the Packers. He's going to see the majority of the carries. He's also going to be involved in the passing game, and he's tied for the most team touchdowns this season. Aaron Jones is a key addition to this Packers offense. When he does well, the Packers do well. I like a big game for Packers. So Aaron Jones, anytime touchdown. Aaron Jones over 86.5 receiving and rushing yards. And Aaron Rodgers, no interceptions. Let's go Green Bay. That's what I have for you, Prez.
Outstanding stuff by Meghan Payton. We're lucky to have her. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the Week 11 breakdown of every game on the board. Here are my show best bets. I like Baltimore and Carolina to go over the total of 41.5. I like the Detroit Lions at +3. And I like the Las Vegas Raiders, and I say that loosely, at +3 as well. Please, please, please take advantage of my NHL promo. The promo code is PREZ399, PREZ for you Americans, PREZ for everybody else in the world. PREZ399, $399 my entire NHL season, all the way through the playoffs. Take advantage of that. Other than that, I'll have a big card up for everybody for Sunday. I already have 1 play up now. I've got 4 circled. My prop bets come in super late, so stay with me on that. We will see you all next week. I'm Lawrence Presman. Namaste.